I 100%ed Spider-Man 2 as soon as it came out, and it was crazy. After I jumped in the game, I was immediately faced with Sandman invading the city. In this game though, you can change the difficulty of swinging, so I wasn't too good at the beginning on hard mode.
Oh my god, bro.
I was fighting these sand guys, basically as a tutorial, but after a while, I was in a boss fight with him. This showed me just how fun this game could be, with Miles and Peter teaming up. It wasn't hard though, so I was done with the intro segment. I got a feel for the gliding mechanic when I was fixing some of the damage caused by Sandman. And Peter was a new teacher at my school, but after this man left in the middle of a natural disaster, I can't lie, he was jobless.
It's worse than getting fired. Telling your girlfriend that you got fired.
Back at Aunt May's house though, this man Harry was healed up and we went biking. The devs low-key went crazy making this mechanic, acceleration and pedaling, all that stuff for like 2 minutes of gameplay. But we were put in a flashback, trying to get a flash drive I guess. But the main focus is this, like you cannot tell me that's the same person, it's just not. I was introduced to one of the main villains, Kraven. I guess he wanted to be like king of the jungle or something, and he was trying to find all the powerful people like Scorpion and Vulture to kill. And I was invading his ship and started the first real fight. It was honestly pretty hard though. I never really wanted to use the new parry mechanic for a while, even though it's pretty useful once you get good at it. I was going crazy with these abilities though. Might have been a little too crazy though. This game started giving me flashbacks to algebra class, and the boat started sinking. There was someone I had to save though. I was drowning and stuff, but I got baited. It's crazy. Like Scorpion started violating me here, but he needed to leave too, so I was able to survive. I saved the rest of the people here, and on my first interaction with Uncle Aaron, I guess we made up from when he tried to kill me, and he showed me this tech stash he had hid back in his Prowler days. I'll need a lot of these for the 100%, along with these sand crystal and photo ops. I did a lot of this, along with a few side quests, like when I saved this guy after he accidentally blew himself up. At this point though, it was like 3 AM and decided to get back on later that day. I was back on at 7 and I stood in front of the new Emily May Foundation that Harry had made. I even got offered a job here and took it up. We got some new info on the Kraven situation though. They were using these invisible walls to hide their bases. I took out this small hideout and got this robot Raven to lead me to a huge one. Everything was pretty easy at the beginning. I was just admiring the scenery here. This game has a lot more diverse areas. As I entered this room, I fell victim to one of the most devious combos in this game. This sword enemy right here is supposed to be parried, which is fine, but then I had this missile coming at me too. Now I knew that dodging could be a risk here, so in a split second, I made the decision to stay still. This was pretty dumb, but his combo was still deadly aside from that. Next try, I had it though, and saw some footage. Kraven had his first victim. He just ripped the stinger off Scorpion and then strangled him. Right after this though, Miles was back home, installing that college essay. Caught up on learning where Negative Man is. One of Kraven's targets though was Black Cat, and she had this teleporter too, so I needed to find her. After exploring her house, it was clear that she had already met Kraven's hunters, and just to see her, I had to do this whole fight. It's crazy because she could have literally just teleported to me, making me do this whole thing. But the worst part is though, she wouldn't even talk to me. I had to chase her. She had me going through China and Antarctica, meeting the penguins. I guess her like girlfriend was in trouble all the way in Paris, and she didn't know how to teleport far enough to see her. I don't even know how that works though, because she could teleport to Antarctica.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The conversation got interrupted though, and after winning this fight, she had me helping her escape. I don't even know though, she was gone after this, and I got to try Mysterio's new amusement park game. I was going crazy on the song.
Stop the cap.
Until something went wrong. I'm not sure who didn't think this would happen though. It's a criminal putting you in some portal that controls your mind. I had to fight all these enemies, and after I was just annoyed, so I left the park.
Can we dip?
It was just Peter, MJ, and Harry left, and the devs went crazy here. There are like 10 playable games here. No other game doing stuff like this. I even saw this man Tombstone making a comeback in life as a go-kart mechanic. Everything kept going well until Harry did something a little suspicious. He just came back from almost dying, and he had the strength to do this. I don't even know, we don't speak on it though. I completed all the games and got my new drip, but Kraven had to come and ruin it. He was trying to hunt Tombstone, but we couldn't just let that happen. I hopped in the fight, and luckily, I still had my hat. In the first part, I was doing fine. My dodging game was a little off, but nothing too serious. When this car pulled up though, the beef came with it. At first, I got hit with this, but I could recover. It was my fault for not seeing the green laser. A few seconds later though, I just finished a combo when this dog ran up on me with no warning. I wasn't dead, but this next bolt hit me without enough time to react. I was getting ready for the next try, stretching, but I got hit with another powerful bullet. I couldn't even believe my eyes, like this gunman was a pro Fortnite player. I couldn't let anything else go wrong from here though, so I pulled out the most devious performance of my life and survived. They started playing dirty here though, crashing into the roller coaster. I had to save everyone on it and found out about Harry's new powers. Unfortunately though, I think they got Tombstone, because the last I saw of him was this. This was still the first day of the game being out though, so I didn't want to rush through the main story too fast. I spent a while all doing photo ops and these sand crystals until I found out about this suit. I had to do all the hunter blinds and bases to get it, but it looked worth it for such a nice suit. I tried 1 or 2 of these blinds and had to stop this mission immediately. Too big of a time investment right now. But I was also able to do a side quest called the Flame, so I started it up, and for a while I was just saving people in a burned building as my robot form, until I found out about the actual reason this building was burned. It wasn't a fire, it was just this crazy cult, talking about the Crimson Hour or whatever. This was the first section of the quest done, so I decided to knock out another side quest. But before that, I just gotta point out how nice this is, especially when you look at what Miles Morales had. To do the quest, I just had to find this woman's grandfather. It was easy for a while, but this man started yapping, bro. I got out as soon as I could, and went to do my first high school quest. Everything was going well at this event, aside from the fact that the art teacher was kidnapped. I didn't really care, but the game made me go find her. In the middle of this fight though, I was trying to talk to this man about a scholarship, but due to the fact that I had people trying to kill me, the call did not go well. Miles was really mad, but we got the art teacher back safely. Now I know I've been stalling it for a while, but I was back on the main quest. This man Harry was testing his powers in the labs, but he started playing too much, breaking things, even his father was getting mad. Tombstone was still captured though, so I needed to rescue him. I took care of this first fight fine, but Harry wanted to help after this. He pulled up in his new suit, and I can't lie, he did not look good.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
I was going crazy though. He was still making some basic mistakes, getting caught in this poison bomb and stuff. We got into this room with Tombstone, and they had trapped him in a volcano. It's crazy. Fighting the enemies wasn't gonna work, so we had to break his prison and make the greatest escape in history. Look what me and Harry did here. Came in clutch. I wasn't done saving people from Craven yet though, because this man injected the lizard serum into this scientist. To make it even worse, it was an MJ mission. But this one wasn't even that bad with the stealth. Once I broke into this man's prison, MJ got caught. Peter came and pulled the lizard antidote off Craven's neck, but failed to inject it. In a battle, Peter got stabbed, and Harry's symbiote suit chose to save Peter. Now this meant 2 things. Peter had all those cool powers, and Harry's gonna die of that disease if we didn't fix this. We needed the scientist that lizard is now to turn back to normal in order to get the suit back onto Harry. So we tried putting it in the particle accelerator. Some didn't work though, and it started to fire. We also got invaded at the same time, causing the whole lab to burn down. So with a low spirit, I went into Lizard's hell to try and find him. I got his location from some hunters, so Miles and I went over. There was a big fight, so we couldn't catch him in time. It was also here that Peter's personality began to change as a result of the suit. He insisted on finding and fighting Lizard on his own, and he was able to find him, but I was stuck with the fight. This fight introduced 2 new things that I had to get used to. Parrying. While it's not new, you never really had to use it earlier in the game, but I played Sekiro, so I was fine here. These crush attacks were horrible though. They were a lot harder to dodge, and you couldn't parry them. They would happen pretty randomly too, so you couldn't play aggressive, but you also couldn't be a coward. After a while, I got good at predicting these attacks, and would be able to dodge them early enough and not have the whole fight interrupted. I beat it with a shred of HP this try, and the second phase was basically the same. I got him back to normal, and this is where Peter's personality change was solidified. He refused to get rid of the suit because it made him more powerful. I decided to continue the flame quest, where me and Yuri, the old character from the first Spider-Man, infiltrated the cult hideout. They had a lot of prisoners here. We set them free and found the guy behind all this. He intended to kill more people, so we needed to find him in real life. I went back home after this though, and after rushing to bed, things got crazy. Craven's hunters came in, and Peter just disappeared, going on a rampage outside, so I was stuck as MJ once again. I just had to do a lot of stuff. It's all pretty easy, except for this part on the grass, and I don't know what I was doing. This whole thing expands into a bigger area. Miles is taking care of things outside, but Peter keeps trying to kill MJ, so she had to knock him out. Miles kept going crazy outside, until this person he was saving injected him with poison, knocking him out. MJ needed to tase Peter in order for him to get up, so I pulled the craziest escape in history doing this. Yeah, it's even better than this one, I can't lie. I guess Peter didn't remember anything though, since he woke up acting like everything was fine. When he went up to see Harry and asked for the suit back, he got very mad. He wasn't going to change his mind about keeping it either, so we needed to figure something out. Miles was still captured though, so I began his grand escape. I was faced with a lot of traps, and eventually a few enemies, but it wasn't until here that I got scared. I was not about to fight all this. I guess they were just hyping me up though, because I had a much bigger fight ahead of me. Negative Man, Martin Lee, or the man who killed Jefferson Davis. I didn't have much trouble dodging the majority of his attacks, but it's ones like this that made the whole fight difficult. This second phase had some crazy attacks at the beginning, but I realized that if I just jumped and dodged, I could avoid all attacks without having to worry about timing. I beat this pretty quickly and was about to win, until he started playing dirty and trapped me inside of his head. I wasn't even fighting him, just these little enemies. I felt pretty disrespected here. He kept trying to manipulate me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you'd say that, because all that matters is you, right?
Eventually, I overpowered him and my opportunity to get the kill, but I spared him, and thanks to my venom, we both got away. I'll continue the story, and after going to one of Kraven's bases, I was in the fight. He was definitely the hardest boss so far. His first phase has a lot of powerful basic attacks. These alone though weren't what made it hard. These other attacks could distract you, like these bombs, throwing his axe, this one that blocks your vision, and that one's bad because he can teleport real fast after using it. The thing I died most to though was this slam down thing that happens every time you try to rush up on him. He really thought he was God for it, didn't he? Overall though, I could beat this phase with some good RNG and a symbiote ult. Second phase though is where this man went crazy. He did not fight with honor, ringing a bell to make me immobile, teleporting and camping with his gun, and just going invisible half a second after attacking you.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Had two opportunities to deal damage here. If you landed a parry, you would have a small window to land a combo in, and if your timing is right, this gun attack would let you rush up on him. Whenever you were landing one, it was vital to use all of your abilities. This would deal good damage and allow you to use more basic attacks after. Y'all, I'm editing this right now and I really just gave you the basic definition of a combo, didn't I? As the fight went on, Kraven could reveal himself more, which was good, but also came with its own set of challenges, like these little dogs.
What the dog doing?
That's about it though. My biggest problem was getting stuck in some string of attacks that would inevitably lead to death. But this run randomly started going crazy, unexpected considering how the previous one went. Unknowingly, I changed my playstyle. I was a lot more aggressive, which let me attack when I needed to, and take the time to dodge. Even when attacking looked like a good option, it was always a trap. Towards the end, I was crazy with this symbiote, and all I needed was a few basic attacks and a symbiote punch to end it. Peter wasn't himself though, and he tried to kill Kraven. Miles interjected, and this is where the second boss fight came in. Back-to-back boss fights where I'm fighting the guy I just played as amazed me, I can't lie. But this time I got to use the bell and felt like a menace with this thing. Peter's attacks were fast and powerful, but you could interrupt his combos pretty easily with venom or just by parrying. My best strategy though was aerial combat. You could keep up a combo for a while this way, and venom complemented it a lot. Overall, the first phase was pretty easy, and I was on to the second in no time. This was literally just a copy-pasted version of the first phase, and I won on the first try. The third and final phase is where this man went crazy. He pulled out every attack in his arsenal, and I could not stop dying to his never-ending combos. I had to retaliate somehow, but I could only keep him stun locked for so long, or could I? If every time he started attacking, I either spammed webs or went invisible, I could get right back into a combo, no damage taken, and cooldowns would be over by the time he started attacking again. With a little practice, I had this phase done, and finally won. Now that I had the suit off Peter and beat Kraven, I thought the game was done, but I guess there was the whole finale left. I decided to end the first full day of the game there though, and hopped back on the next day. I wasn't trying to immediately finish the story, so I decided to do some of these hunter blinds and bases for a while. I also continued that side quest, the flame with Yuri in it. Once we found the guy who was behind the cult in person, me and Yuri came to a bit of a disagreement, and this was a tough boss fight, I can't lie. It reminded me a lot of Finn's fight, except this could happen. First phase required a lot of parrying, and I spent a while learning her attacks. Second phase though, well, I just went crazy with these abilities and was good. Third phase reminded me a little bit of Kraven with this invisibility. Luckily it only lasted a few seconds though, and after beating her, I was back on the main story. Now I was supposed to destroy the symbiote after Miles got it off of me, but Harry forced it away from me, and it turned him into a venom, full effect. He started wreaking havoc, but it's fine because I was playing as him. He jumped into the city, and I guess Kraven was back for another fight. I'm not sure what all this was for, I guess. In this fight though, he never had a chance. I just spammed the same attacks and he couldn't do a thing. It wasn't good though, since Venom ended up killing Kraven and started to infect the whole world with his symbiote stuff. He was causing a whole zombie apocalypse, turning everyone into a symbiote. Miles and I had to run around the city for a while, trying to keep it under control. He planted a lot of these symbiote nests. These were hard, but by exploding the heart, I could get a lot of people back to normal. I know it's horrible timing, but I decided to go do a side quest. I just helped this guy at the school with his prom proposal. Somehow it ended up with me fighting criminals over a power generator, but I was just trying to get back to saving the universe. I did one more thing before that though. The flame mission was almost done, so I teamed up with Yuri. The beef is gone now, and beat up the cult to stop them from blowing up the city. I worked on a few more little things to getting the 100%, like sand crystals and photo ops, and then also did a few side missions. I even got into this one where I had to fight some criminals without my webs and abilities. This was pretty fun, and I would honestly play a mod where you just beat the game like this. I also finished Bebop, one of the major side missions I mentioned earlier. To give you a little recap, all the things were stolen from this museum, but this guy, the biggest donor to it, didn't want to provide it with the funds anymore. What's crazy though is that he's the one who hired the criminals to steal the stuff. Honestly a good strat, but I had too much IQ. I could tell where he was at just by looking at some water. The museum had his stuff back, and everyone was there. But as I continued the story, Harry paid a visit to MJ. He turned her into a symbiote that I had to fight. I don't know why she was any more powerful than any of these random symbiotes, but it was a pretty hard fight. Most of her attacks were just swinging her hair, and they were parryable, but I would always underestimate the range and die. She had one parryable attack though, and while it wasn't that powerful, if you were close up, it was pretty hard to dodge. Over time, I realized that sometimes you just gotta keep her distance, and that got me through the first phase. Second phase was the same thing, I just had to learn to parry this stab attack right here. Third phase was the same attacks, she just used the hard ones a lot more often. Once I learned to be patient and capitalize on the attacking opportunities I did have, I was able to win. And final phase was just a buffed up version of the previous one, so there's not really that much to say on it. Miles and I continued fighting through the city until Peter got messed up by some symbiotes. So I had to make the biggest collab of the century happen. After searching for a few minutes, we found him and woke him up. I guess he got Negative Man's powers too, because he had all the old symbiote abilities, just without turning into Venom. For a while, I was just going around the city, protecting everyone, but I'll skip over that and on to the end. Unfortunately, I lost the recording for a lot of this, but here's what happened. Peter got Venom away from everyone, while MJ stole this crystal thing. Miles held back some enemies, and the fight with Venom began. He was crazy, killing me in less than 10 seconds, never getting a chance to dodge. Webs were useless against him too, but I still used them to help with my healing bar. This phase really came down to just reading his attacks and knowing when to parry. Once you did, a combo could last for a while, especially if you went crazy on your abilities. My biggest weakness wasn't missing parries, but the attacks that you can't even parry in the first place. It took a while to learn these, but eventually I could predict them and dodge ahead of time. I proceeded to the second phase, and knew it was bad the second I saw caution tape on his health bar. I needed to hit him with abilities to get into his normal phase, and to get these I would have to fight these things, but I would always die doing so. After a while, it started getting annoying. I decided to ignore these as much as possible, and it surprisingly worked. I could beat this part easily, and get into what's basically a repeat of the first phase, except it wasn't. He kept going crazy with fast attacks here, and it felt a lot more personal, I can't lie. To be honest, there's not much to say about this fight though. Dodge until you land a parry, then start a combo, and spam your abilities. That's it, and I was done. Miles, MJ, and Peter met back up, but this fight was crazy. There was a lot of aerial combat. Miles' abilities did work well for it though, especially this one. The only attack I would get hit with while midair was this projectile that he shot at me while I was trying to rush up. After I got him to the ground, it was similar to Peter's fight. I would parry a lot less though, so I ended up stalling until I had a good opportunity to attack. I'd also just use my abilities to counter attacks. Right here, I was on a great run. We entered aerial combat again, and I was sure I could win. But the second I decided to rush up on him with a final attack, he hits me with this grab. I couldn't even see his leftover HP here. The disappointment I felt was unexplainable. After a few runs, I got back to this point, and I came back for vengeance. Trust me, I was ruthless and aggressive. Until this happened, man, I still ain't dumb. I got a heal in though, and he started going crazy again. Right before my last hit though, he hit me with the same grab, giving me PTSD. I thought it was over, but I still had my trump card, and this was it. I was finished with the main story. I thought it was great, but still disappointed that it took less than 2 days to beat. I'm not going to talk about the very end, because if you haven't played the game yet, you should wait to see it for yourself. But I just gotta say, this is the sickest end credit scene I've ever seen. Now, the 100% journey could begin. I decided to go through the whole mission section first, and it didn't cover everything, but it would be good to knock out of the way. I started by doing my last Brooklyn Vision quest, where I just had to get a few photos and fly with a drone. I got a new suit as a reward too. I did another quest where I played as Miles' girlfriend and had to spray paint on a few walls. Right after this though, is where I reached the saddest part of any game ever. I met up with Howard, the guy from the first game, with all the pigeons, and he asked me to relocate them so we could go on some journey, but by the time I got back, he was dead. This left me sad. He was a good guy, thinking about his pigeons till his last moments. My next quest was a little more cheerful though. I hacked one of Craven's robot dogs into a service dog for this blind person who was allergic to real dogs. This was the last of the side quests though, so I went on to finding all of Uncle Aaron's Prowler stashes. After I got the last one, I found out he was living in Miles' building. My next step was getting all these EMF experiments done. It was just constant experiments and not very fun to be honest. After this, I cleared out some symbiote nests and was done with this mission section. I already had the 100 lines and bases done before this, so I didn't have to worry about them. But I had one last clear of the whole map to do. I went region through region, getting all the photo op, Mysteriums, sand crystals, and spider bots. Once I had all the photo ops, this guy started acting like it was weird that I didn't take pictures of Spider-Man. I mean, I wonder why. Suit didn't have a selfie mode, I guess. All the sand crystals had Sandman feeling a lot better, and they formed into a statue that I delivered to his daughter. Once I got all the Mysteriums, I found out that Mysterio wasn't even that bad of a guy. He was just being controlled by a few people over here. He had a pretty cool point too. I'll just let you see it live though.
Mysterio will always be a villain.
Yep.
Just as Spider-Man will always be a hero. It's when you start looking at the people behind the masks that things get messy.
These spider bots were hidden everywhere, and at the end, I had this Spider-Verse type person steal them from me. But as I picked up the last one, the end of the game was marked. I had the 100%. It was a great game, only took like 30 hours. A better short quality game than a long bad one. And with this, the video is done. But start hyping up, cause I'm beating the whole game on ultimate mode without taking damage, not a single hit for next video. In the meantime though, try watching this.